The objective of this project is to analyze the production on a small scale of the Violet Crumble candy bar and then plan and design the large upscale of this process. The initial ingredients of the Violet Crumble included water, sugar, carrot syrup, and honey.
This process can be simplified into these 3 unit operations: toffee production, honeycomb production, and chocolate coating. The first unit operation is hard cracked toffee preparation. In this step, we combined sucrose with water to form a supersaturated solution. We then added in corn syrup, which is mainly glucose, to prevent the sucrose from crystallizing. Our second unit operation is honeycomb preparation. We added sodium bicarbonate into our sucrose solution to allow CO2 bubbles to form our honeycomb. Our third unit operation is chocolate coating and packaging. In this step, we melted chocolate, dipped in our honeycomb, and allowed it to cool and harden. We then packaged it in an airtight package to keep it fresh for the consumer.
Alright, so here we have a more pictorial version of your typical block flow diagram. So if we start over here, we have a chamber that it has a funnel connected to a pipe plus multiple other pipes leading to this chamber. This chamber is also a heating/stirring apparatus. These individual pipes right here are going to carry all of your liquid raw materials, and then the funnel is going to be used for your solid sugar. Alright, so after this gets mixed and heated to the optimal temperature, it's going to come through this pipe to this next chamber where the sodium bicarb is going to be added, and there's also going to be a stirring apparatus here so it can get that fluffy texture. Once it reaches the appropriate texture, it's going to come through here and it's going to get spread along a conveyor belt. So once it gets spread along a conveyor belt, it's going to have a cooling session here, and then it's going to go to a dividing section where it's going to get cut up into the appropriate sizes. And it has the chocolate and the cooling section where it's going to be both dipped in chocolate and cooled so it can be ready for packaging. So once it goes down, it's going to be sorted out into single file down here, and there's going to be a wrapping apparatus right here that's going to wrap each individual Violet Crumble bar, and it's going to be set down a chute into where it's going to be packaged, sent down this conveyor belt, and be ready to be packed for shipment.
Okay, so here you see our temperature versus time graph for our mixture of original ingredients. So as you can see, as more time progressed, we heated the mixture longer, so the temperature of the mixture rose. Once the temperature hit about 230 degrees Fahrenheit, it was time to add the sodium bicarbonate.
So for the further investigation to a specific unit operation, our team decided to investigate the initial mixing of ingredients in the initial chamber to create the hard toffee. And what we quickly found is that the initial substances have inconsistencies and irregularities that are going to require a few different considerations. For example, some of the substances have different viscosities and have different amounts of the substances required for the initial mixture, and so in that case the pipes and the size of the pipes and the flow rates of these pipes are going to have to be taken into consideration when putting them in the initial mixture. Now as these pipes go into a funnel, which then go to the main chamber, we have 2 main instruments that are going to help us measure different qualities of the mixture to make sure that it stays on track. The first one is a thermometer, or just a temperature monitor, that is going to allow us to make sure that the temperature stays on track to maintain the integrity of the mixture. And the second part is going to be an orifice meter that will measure the flow rates and pressures within the pipes to make sure that the flow rates for each of the substances goes in at the levels that match with the recipe. There you go. Calculations for the flow rates and the diameter of the pipe can be found in the appendix. And for the next part, we're going to talk about price factors. What we mean by price factors is factors within the production process that will affect the end sales price. And when we looked at this, we looked at things that affected the cost of production. So the basic relationship is that the cost of production goes up, and the sales price likely will as well. And so we identified 5 factors where we saw possible changes in the cost of production and possible changes in the sales price. And these things are changes in the cost of capital, the cost of labor, the cost of materials, the size of the bar itself, and the location of the factory. Now, any change in these that requires the cost of production to go up will cause the sales price to go up, and vice versa, with things that make the cost of production go down, causing a decrease in the sales price. So after the completion of this production process and the report trying to scale it up, the team found that the data and the calculations all showed that this process is feasible on a large scale. Now, we do recommend that more trials be done, but we all agree that Violet Crumble can definitely go to the big stage.